everybody. Welcome back to the second season of the Extra Time U.S. Soccer Podcast. We made it through the first season. I am still joined by my brother, Ryan Greenberg. He has not given up on me yet. Ryan, how are you doing? How's your new year going?
Oh, it's going great. We got some big exciting news for the start of this new year, which is what we're mostly going to be talking about, I believe. We have acquired tickets to the first men's World Cup qualifier of the new year.
That's right. We are going to the El Salvador game out here in Ohio, January 27th. We're going to be there. We're going to be there at the game, so hopefully we can get some live content for it. It might not be live when you view it, but some footage from the game and some commentary from the game. So we are excited about that. That is our big news for it, and it is going to kind of lead our discussion for this podcast. Obviously, lots of stuff happening with the men overseas, but outside of the January transfer window, which we're not going to talk about really at all. Just hasn't been something we focused on, and we can always talk about it later on. I just kind of wanted to chat with everybody and hopefully get some comments about what their experiences have been attempting to or viewing the men live in person nationally. Now, Ryan, we've been to other games, right?
Yeah, we went to, oh God, many years ago, we went to a friendly down in New York City. Well, just outside the city in the, what is it called?
Yeah, is it the Meadowlands? Is that what they call it
Meadowlands.
still? Yeah.
Yeah, the Meadowlands. We went and watched the U.S. play Argentina, which was a fun game. So we got to see Messi play for, I don't know, probably like the first half and like another 10 minutes or so, which was nice. It was very cold, which I'm expecting this game to also be. And, end of January in Columbus, outdoors, obviously, soccer. So I am planning on wearing many layers, and
Yeah.
obviously
Oh,
I
yeah.
can take extra layers off if needed. So.
Yeah, that was a riveting game. Maybe we'll be able to throw up some flashback photos of that game. I know that to a lot of people in a lot of sports, when you think about live events and seeing things in person, it's no surprise to anybody that ticket prices can be pretty high. To give some comparisons, like for hockey games, I know, Ryan, you and Dad were looking at getting tickets to either Rangers games or Penguin games. If you were trying to get tickets to the opening night of the new NHL Seattle Kraken franchise, you were looking at
Good luck.
$700. Oh yeah. So it's not a surprise to anybody that ticket prices are difficult to, well, are high, right? They make a pretty big
Yeah.
pay barrier. But I guess my point of conversation is, do we feel like, is that really where U.S. men's soccer is, right? You look at like the New England Patriots, you look at the Boston Bruins, the New York Rangers, you look at maybe Knicks tickets, you look at Cavaliers tickets. Is the U.S. men's
Golden
national
State.
team right? Are we really at the same level? Should tickets be $600, $700 a game?
Um, I mean, certain tickets, yes. There's always going to be certain tickets at games that are like you want to sit center field, pitch level. You're spending $600. It's not really going to matter who's playing. If it's a U.S. versus anybody, most likely that's going to be $600 for pitch level, center, midfield. It's going to be expensive. Same with center ice tickets for hockey. You want to sit behind the bench for a team down right there in the ice, right on the glass, you're going to be forking out a lot of money. Do I think every ticket for the US should be that expensive? No. And they're not. I mean, like we got ours, what, $85?
Yeah, so our tickets were $85.
Yeah.
We were super close to being about 6 rows from the field, but during our conversation of whether or not you were going to be able to pull it off, those 2 tickets sold. So we are still in the lower deck. We are in the very last row of the lower deck, behind what is hopefully the American Outlaws goal.
Okay. So it'll be the America's side.
Hopefully. It might not be. We might be on the total opposite side of the field, which will
Even
still be
that's
fun
fine.
either way. You get a quick Augie cam right there. Augie sneaking into the shot, checking out what we're doing. Yeah, so I guess sort of like the question that I gave you was misleading. Obviously, supply and demand ticket prices are driven by the market, right? So if lots of people are trying to buy these tickets, obviously, why not, right? We're trying to make some money. We're going to pump the ticket prices up. But I looked at some of these ticket prices, and I look at some of the U.S. games with stadiums half empty, and I think to myself, like, what are we doing still selling tickets for $300-$400 a piece? How are we supposed to get these young kids involved in the game when they can't even purchase a ticket?
So there's a couple ways to look at this. The first way, which is what I'm hoping is what's going on, is so obviously with COVID restrictions still being a thing, not every stadium can be full. Depending
Correct.
on what state it is in, not every stadium can sell out, especially indoor stadiums. Now, I know soccer's outdoors, but still, same rules can apply to the outdoor stadiums in that state. So there's a chance that they can't sell every ticket because, some of the press booths and some of the indoor VIP seating can't hold as many people.
Right, you got to have the
So
distancing.
you got to have the distancing. So you run into that problem, which I think plays a little bit into it. But I also think you might be running into the U.S. has looked good. And not just because I'm hopeful, but because I've seen them play for 30 years. And this is the best I've ever seen them play, in my opinion.
Oh,
So,
agreed.
so that then means you might have a lot of people going, oh, they're doing really well. They have a shot this year. Let's go watch them. And the more people that want to go watch them, obviously you need to make tickets more expensive because if people are already coming, let's charge them a little bit more and see if everyone's still coming. So it is that supply and demand of maybe the U.S. is getting a lot better, which is drawing the attention of a lot more fans, and more people are now like, oh, we live an hour from a stadium. We've never gone to a game, but the U.S. looks really good. Let's go check one out.
Yeah, and I suppose, comparing this to other sports is certainly not fair, right? I mean, the biggest difference between the United States men and just about every other sports team you could ever follow is there's a home venue. So the Pittsburgh Penguins, you're probably a
Correct.
fan. You're probably a fan of the Pittsburgh Penguins if you live near Pittsburgh, right? You live a couple
Yeah.
hours from Pittsburgh, you can see games. Same with the Rangers. Same with the Knicks, Golden State Warriors. You might have Bills fans way out here in Ohio, but going to a game every once in a while, you can watch them on TV. Like I'm a USA fan, even if I can't see them in person.
Correct.
So knowing that
U.S. means the whole country,
correct.
whereas Golden State Warriors is Justin.
Right. So,
just in
to play devil's advocate here a little bit, that almost creates this double-edged sword, right? Because if I know that the United States are going to play in California, they might play in Texas, they might play in New York, they might play in Minnesota, they might play in Ohio, they might play in Nashville, they might play in Florida. So if I'm a fan, and let's say I've been thinking about taking my family. This is like Dad, right? We'll put Dad here. Dad was really wanted to get us to a game. All of a sudden, there's a friendly Argentina. Games there, 3.5 hours away. Let's take the family. Now, granted, we were older, we were in college, paid for our own tickets, brought our friends, but Dad's looking to do this. I want to say I spent like 140, maybe a little bit more on each of those tickets, right? Certainly Lionel Messi's presence jacked those ticket prices up. This was an off-season friendly.
And we had good seats for that game. $140 isn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad at all. So to try to compare this, though, to look at it, average ticket prices for the NBA are $51 a game. Now, granted, this is average, right? So this doesn't mean that certain teams are higher. This is everybody, and it's every seat in the house.
Correct. So you're taking into account all of the nosebleeds and
right.
Yeah, okay.
Now they said if you add food, drinks, parking, you're going up closer to $80 a person.
Correct.
Right. So, but again, we're just going to factor in those things. So NFL in the 2021 season, the average cost to take a family of 4 to a football game was just short of $600.
Okay.
Okay.
About $100 a ticket.
About $100 a ticket
and stuff.
The Premier League, the most expensive team in the Premier League is 97 pounds. So you'd have to do the conversion, right? The pound's a little bit better, I think. again, Arsenal, West
Yeah, I
Ham,
don't know.
Arsenal and West Ham are right about $100 a game. And then it
Yeah.
starts to fall off. Chelsea 87, Tottenham 81, then plummeting right down to Liverpool at 59. So
How many you said it was 97 pounds?
97 British pounds.
So it'd be $131 a ticket.
Okay, so it's way So we got way higher weighted. So you're looking at maybe the first 4 teams are well above $100, and everybody else sinks down pretty far. So as compared to other sports, let's see if I can get another sport in here. NHL tickets, the average cost to the Nashville Predators was 78, Maple Leafs 128, Rangers 121, the Blackhawks
Okay,
110. So
yeah,
like
that all makes sense to me. But now, so let's break it down some more now. So you have these average costs of football. You said was $600 for a family of 4, right?
right.
Okay, how many? Now I get football's not the best example, but how many football games are there a year for your team? There's 18 weeks, so you get 17 games.
Well, you're really playing devil's advocate here. I see where you're going. Let's take it. You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you get 17 games. How many games does the U.S. men's team play in the United States a year, on average?
What did we play? Would we play 12 this year?
Right? So that's less. You're already playing less in an entire year than a football team plays in 5 months.
Right. And so I certainly see where you're going in that from a business stance, because there's less chance for it, people are more likely to cough up a little bit more money to do it. And
Correct.
so my stance is probably not a good business one, but is of going the opposite route and saying, why are we letting that affect, like, change our model? Because to me, I would rather see sold out houses. I'd rather see sold out things. And also, this is we probably should have led with this. The reason that we're talking about this tonight, and I know that we are almost 15 minutes into this. The reason that we're talking about this is when the game was announced that it was going to be in Columbus, I called Ryan. I said, hey, the game's in Columbus. Do you want to go? Our whole family said yes. We were going to get the days off of work.
Correct.
And then I went to find tickets, and I couldn't find tickets anywhere. Now, this game got announced end of November, beginning of December, I believe, is when they picked the venue. So not a whole lot of time for you to get tickets to a game and plan this. In this process, I discovered that the way that U.S. Soccer was giving out tickets was through a draft lottery. And so if you were a member of like the elite VIP club, you would get 5 opportunities to have your name drawn. If you were just a member of the regular club, you had 4 opportunities. If you were just like a VIP ticket holder to one of the 2 home venues, you had 3 chances. If you were an insider, you had 2 chances, and then everybody else just had 1. And it left it.
So on that though, okay. So the VIPs get 5, and so on and down forth. So now think about what's going on, and you might not be able to fill the stadium because a lot of other sports did this when COVID was affecting them, and they could only have 4,000 people in the stadium. It went to season ticket holders first. That was it. If you had bought season tickets the year before, you got tickets to these games. Now, I understand that you had season tickets last year. The season got cut short. They refunded the money for those that you didn't get to go to. So technically, you're not a season ticket holder right now. Why do they get first dibs on seats, right? Why should someone who paid last year to go to all of Pittsburgh's home games get to go to the home games now when they're only allowing 4,000 fans before anyone else is allowed to buy tickets? So a draft lottery isn't necessarily bad because it allows people like you and me who aren't members of any elite USA Soccer's club to still have a chance, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, and I'll just disagree because I do that. I don't understand why we're having a ticket lottery in the first place. I understand COVID restrictions. Why not just sell X number of tickets? Because to me, why are season ticket holders at the Columbus Crew Stadium getting any more of an advantage than anybody else? And I get it's a business, right? I know why. I'm not stupid. I know why they're getting an advantage, right? This is like a pay to win system, right? If you've spent a whole bunch of money up front, it's more likely you're going to get a ticket later on.
You're more likely to buy more stuff while you're there,
right?
Because you're there all the time.
Well, where I got my tickets from Ticketmaster when they finally went on sale through the USA Soccer site last week.
Correct.
there and when you clicked on the stadium, and I should have brought up a graphic, most of the tickets were verified resale tickets. And I don't really buy tickets in other sports. Most people know that's why I'm doing this podcast. I've never been more infuriated in my life than seeing an entire stadium filled with verified resale tickets at $300 a piece. You won that lottery, you purchased that ticket. If you didn't want to go to that game, don't buy it. And I know this happens in every other sport. I know this happens all across the board, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's not the stadium's fault. It's not U.S. Soccer's fault. But it's just, to me, it's just this total crap.
Do you choose to put your name in there? So say you're a member of the U.S. What are they? The American Outlaws?
That's true. I didn't think about this. Maybe people are just in there by default, and they want a ticket, and they don't want it.
Because the American Outlaws that go to the games, or what are they called? The U.S. Outlaws?
Yep, American Outlaws. You're right.
American Outlaws that go to the games. You have to sign up. You register. You pay a fee. You're part of this group. You get to go to the games, right? Do they automatically get their name put in whether they want to go or not?
I don't know. I don't believe so, but I don't know the answer to that.
So all of these people that could be season ticket holders to Columbus Crew games could have their names automatically put in, and then all of a sudden they get an email saying, hey, guess what? You have 2 tickets to this. Do you want to go? And they're like, not really. And then they're like, oh, I can make money off selling these tickets, which sucks. And I do hate that part because it's happening with a lot of things. Like the biggest example is the PS5. People are scalping it like crazy because they'll buy like 40 copies of it and then start charging people like $900 for one instead of the, sale price of $400 kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And that's awful. But at the same time, it's a little different because maybe these people didn't decide to get tickets. They were just given. It was like, hey, you're a season ticket holder. Your name was put in. You can purchase tickets now.
Right. And I know that with like COVID exposures and stuff, there's going to be people who
have to back out at the last second.
At the last minute. And I totally get that. And that all stinks. But like when you look at, to me, like in a situation like the PS5 or people scalping tickets, that's not verified resale. You know what I mean? Like people aren't, like, companies aren't endorsing that. It's not like you bought the PS5 and then Sony's like, hey, I see you bought one of our PS5s. You want to sell that again? Like, you know what I mean? This is like Ticketmaster is helping you resell those tickets. And this is a bigger thing than just this game, right? We have been looking at games all over the place, right? I was so close to pulling the trigger to go to the Mexico game in Cincinnati. It was going to be $240 to go, and I was gonna sit in the upper deck. Now, I spent $220 on the last ticket. I'm not necessarily solely upset about ticket prices. Like, I get ticket prices. Now, my personal opinion is I think every venue should have a cap. Like, I just do. I just think that whatever federation is in charge of you should just cap ticket prices. Because to me, I would rather see a stadium.
You can never pay more than so much.
Right. So tickets could never be more than. Like, if the NHL had, like, their 6 center ice sections, could be whatever you wanted, but every other site in the arena could never be more than $100. That, I mean, I'm not saying that's a good business model, but, like, that would be fun for fans, right? Like, every fan just goes, boom, $100, they do it.
Well, you run into this problem of why charge less money when if you charge more, you still know you'll sell out.
Right, or... It goes to the break-even model, right? So if I sell tickets at $250 a piece and I sell 3 of them and I make $750, how many tickets do I have to sell at I have to sell 7 or 8 tickets at $100 to make the same amount of money. And if I know I can sell 100 tickets at $250 a pop, I'm not going to try to sell the stadium out at $80 a pop.
Correct. And to bring up like prices of things. So for me, I don't live near Ohio, right? Like it's an 8.5 hour drive for me to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at, what do I do? I look at flights, I look at train, and I look at how much would it cost me to drive, right? So I probably have to fill up my tank at least 2, maybe 3 times. So that's already $150. So I'm like, okay, the train, a round trip train ticket for me is $82.
Mm-hmm.
That's cheap, which is nice. And it helps. So I could spend more on a ticket. So you also have, like, I'm not saying that's a reason ticket prices should go up, but think about how, like, if I was to fly, that's $200 round trip. I'm not going to be willing to spend a little extra money on a ticket to go to somewhere because I just
Right.
spent
Because you just
$200
spent $200
flying.
on the flight. Yeah.
But if I spend if my train ticket is less than my ticket to the game,
Yeah,
that's
and
unbelievable.
we did really we did get a pretty decent steal on this, but we also got to remember this is El Salvador, right?
I don't care.
And I don't care either, right? This is a World Cup qualifier. I want to be there to be there.
Why should it matter who it like? I
It
get
shouldn't matter.
Mexico's
Yeah.
our rival. I get that one, but it shouldn't matter who else we're playing. It's a World Cup qualifying game. It matters. Like the last time we played El Salvador, we drew them 0-0.
Right.
That means this game should be more important because to
It should
people
be.
thinking it's a game where it's like, oh, we didn't beat them last time, and we kind of really need to beat them this time because it's
We
at
do.
home.
And we should be beating them. And this is so we can kind of get away from the prices standpoint. This is kind of only half of the issue. And again, I should have led with this. But the other half of the issue was when you went to the okay, another disclaimer. This is the ussoccer.com website. Okay. So all of the information I'm about to vent about is coming from US Soccer, and the main reason why I was so frustrated. When you go to their website and you click on the game gives you no information. Match Hub, no information. So
Correct.
just
Yeah, I
going to the
saw
game,
that.
you get nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you find tickets? In order to find tickets, you had to go back to the article where they announced the venues, then scroll through it where it said click here for ticket information. When you clicked it, it loaded a PDF file that popped up that explained to you the draft process with no information to become part of that draft. All it said was it was going to US Soccer Insider. So what did I do? I went to ussoccer.com. I clicked on how to become an insider. I signed up to be an insider, and I thought about getting the cheapest yearly subscription I could. I thought about it. I didn't do it. I was expecting that after I did that, and I did what they said, I downloaded the US Soccer app, right? I pulled it up. I can pull it up for everybody. I downloaded the US Soccer app. It's right here, right? I pulled it up. There it is. It says US Soccer. I went through all this stuff. I saw the rosters. You see this. Down at the bottom, it's got this matches tab, right? And I clicked on matches. This now says buy tickets. For the longest time, it didn't. It didn't say anything. It just had the venue.
Yeah.
And I was expecting the app to allow me to enter this lottery of some kind, right? Because that's what they've announced. They've announced they're doing a draft lottery. My frustration, the second half of my frustration with U.S. soccer tickets in this specific thing was there was no transparency. There was no ease of access. The entire way that lottery happened is still a mystery to me. I have absolutely no idea. And I spent every single day for 2 weeks trying to enter that lottery. That's a problem. If I'm a devoted enough fan, right, and you're a devoted enough fan, you bought a train ticket, you're going to take a 9-hour train, drive 2.5 hours with me, right, overnight. You're going to take a 2.5-hour trip with me to Columbus in the freezing cold. We're going to watch this game. You're going to spend a day. You're going to go back, right? If we start our own podcast, why can I not find tickets to this game only to find them when they're already at verified resale? I never got to be part of that draft. I would have loved the opportunity to potentially win tickets that I could purchase before anybody else that would have been down in the section. Because who knows? Maybe I would have won the opportunity to purchase tickets at center field. And sure, maybe they would have been $200 a piece. But if I'm a month and a half out from this game, I think you and I could have budgeted and planned and prepared to spend $200 to $250 to sit 3 rows from the center of the field, right?
Easily.
But not 3 weeks before the game. You know what I mean?
I could have.
Like you could have, but not right now I couldn't. If I pulled up my app and it was like, hey, you can still buy tickets, I couldn't. That's why we have the $85 seats. So I know I've just said a lot here, but that's the other half of my frustration is I don't think that's acceptable, and I also don't think it's that hard to have it to not be that difficult.
So let me play devil's advocate now, right? So I get your frustration. It sucks. That's awful. But now think about when they announced the venue. When was the venue announced?
I want to say let's see. Let's go look. Let's go see if it says on their website. They had a lot of articles that came up.
Because I believe you said it was early December, right? Let's just use early December, right? Is when they announced where the El Salvador game was even going to be played, correct?
Oh my gosh, it's going to be earlier than that. Seek's record, it's before. You keep talking, I'll find it.
Okay, so you don't even need to find it. Let's just say it's early December, right? That doesn't give them a whole lot of time to sell tickets. Gives them a month and a half, which it isn't a long. People tend to buy tickets a lot farther out than that. Now I know some people don't. Obviously, when playoffs roll around, people are buying tickets like
All right,
weeks out.
November 24th. November
Is when
24th is when they announced U.S. Soccer has selected Columbus and St. Paul to host critical home World Cup qualifiers against El Salvador.
But did you know which one was being played where?
Yes.
Because St. Paul was Honduras.
Yep, you knew exactly where each one was being played. So at that moment,
So you had 2 months. You have 2 months.
You had 2 months.
Okay, so they have 2 months. They don't know what COVID restrictions are going to be. They know the venue. They've got to sell tickets. Everything kind of happens fast. To me, it looks like they tried to do the best they could, and they kind of bumbled through it, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like, they didn't, I don't think they really messed it up, but obviously things weren't done the best way.
But you don't think it would have been easier for them to sell tickets if they had just gone right from the get-go?
But see, that's tough because selling tickets right from the get-go, what happens if someone who is like an elite VIP doesn't get a ticket? Right? Like, what would you do? What would you do if you were an American outlaw?
I would tell that person, did you really spend the money for an elite VIP pass to get tickets to games? Like, why'd you buy that subscription?
But if someone was an elite, like an American outlaw, and really wanted to go to this game, and as soon as tickets became available, they went to buy tickets, and they couldn't get one because it was already sold out. What do you do?
That's true. I know, and I hear what you're saying. Like,
tough luck,
right? You're keeping your source of income happy, right? And it's like most things in life from a business model, right? Like the people who spend the most money, you need to keep the happiest, so they keep spending money.
It's not even the people who spend the most money. It's the people you know are most likely going to pay to be there. If someone has season tickets to a game, they are pretty convinced they're going to make it to every home game, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, you're not going to buy
at least more than half of them. Yeah.
Well, even if you're only going to make half, you could buy a half a season thing.
You could.
Right? So they're pretty convinced they're going to make it to all of them. Correct. So American Outlaws is a thing where you sign up and you basically go to every U.S. soccer game. Meaning, from a USA standpoint, I mean,
that's a lot of money, right? Like if you think about how much money.
Yep.
If I had just gone to the games in Ohio, I would have basically only spent ticket price, right?
Correct.
I have a Prius. Gas is negligible. It's a 2 to 3 hour drive. But if I wanted to go to all of them, correct. And that means I got to go out to Chicago. I got to go out to St. Paul. I got to go to California 2 or 3 times throughout the season. I think there was a game in Texas. There was a game on the East Coast. Like some of these people got a lot of money.
Yep. So when you look at it from a USA Soccer standpoint and a venue standpoint, those people have already committed to spending the money. So let's just give it to them because we know they'll buy it. If you open up tickets to everyone and say anyone can buy these tickets, you can run into the problem where no one buys them because no one wants to go. Then you're out all this money, where if you release it early to special groups, those groups think, hey, we're getting a special value on these, we're getting better seats, let's purchase them. All of a sudden, you have all of these very expensive seats already sold out to people who have already made that huge commitment of, yeah, it's fine, I'll gladly spend $400 to go to a U.S. soccer game.
Yeah, that's true. I think those are all really good points that you just made, and I don't actually disagree with any of them.
Do I like that model? No. Does it make sense? Yes. And it happens in every sport, and I think it happens in even the Premier League, even in Europe, I think it happens. It's not something that just happens in the US. I think it's something that happens everywhere, and it's just because it works. The best way to get money, and venues need the money to support the teams.
They do. And the last thing that we'll touch on here, and we won't get into like the big parts of it. We'll just go into the parts that affected us. But obviously, FIFA has a lot of corruption in it, right? I mean, if you didn't know this, just Google FIFA corruption or FIFA scandals. There'll be more articles than you have time to read. But one of the things that how this affects me, how this directly affects me. So when you look at like a World Cup, right? Obviously, this is FIFA. This is not just U.S. soccer. So I'm gonna reel it back, right, to where it affected me with ticket sales. Chris and I were very seriously considering going to the South Africa World Cup. We had about 2 years to prepare, or not 2 years. We had about a year and a half to prepare from it. It was right around the time that they announced what was going to happen.
Yep.
And we looked at ticket prices. We were ready, right? We called the agencies. Tickets are $400 a game, right? Fine. Totally fine. It's a World Cup. I get it. It's going to be an outrageous amount of money. All right. So we chalk it up. We're spending at least $1,200 because we're going to try to go to the 3 group stage games. They're going to be played in close succession. They're going to be at the same venues, right? So what do? We try to find tickets. Tickets for that World Cup sold out in under an hour for every game, just completely sold out. And we were like, wow, that's really weird because the U.S. tickets sold out first. And that was confusing to us because I didn't think we had that many fans that were going to fly to South Africa. When we looked into it, what had happened was the U.S. Federation, I shouldn't blame the U.S. Federation because I don't know if that's who it was. But when ticket sales opened to the United States, travel agencies were given permission to buy the tickets, and travel agencies bought all the tickets. And so what happened
that happens a lot.
It happens a lot. So when you had to purchase tickets, when I called the guy, Chris and I had to spend $2,800 on a vacation package. That would include, I think, 2 games. Then, as long as we did that, we would be allowed to spend $400 to purchase any number of tickets outside of that. And that's where I started to get really mad because they shouldn't be able to sell me those tickets. They're not the venue. They're not the sports complex.
But they own the ticket.
But they own the tickets. And so for me, from U.S. Soccer, that's sort of, and I'm not saying U.S. Soccer is at fault for that. That's how I felt trying to buy this ticket to this El Salvador game. And it was like, I don't mind spending a lot of money. I just want U.S. Soccer to sell me the ticket, or I just want the venue to sell me the ticket. I don't want to jump through all these hoops. I don't want to do all this nonsense. I don't want to call to try to be like, and this is the fear that I have going into the World Cup in 2026 on home soil, is that these tickets are going to sell out, and I'm going to wind up having Expedia try to give me some,
share bundle.
Right, exactly. Like go see the Redwoods and backpack through California. I don't want to do that. I just want to purchase the tickets. And I want to just go to the game because I'm a fan, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I agree. That is unfortunate. And the only time I would consider buying tickets through something like that is if you were doing it as part of like a vacation thing, right? So like if I had planned on like, hey, I want to go to South Africa not just to see the World Cup, but to see South Africa, then buying that $2,400 package bundle isn't as big of a deal, right? It's still weird. Because it's like, why do they have the tickets to the soccer games? But at the same time, it's like, I was already planning on going. I want to go to games, but I also want to see the place. So those package deals make sense because a lot of people use them as vacations. I don't like that all of them were that, right? That's not fair. Give each travel agency X number that they can purchase, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
that was the hard part, right? It's
because
like
people will do that. People will pay the package deal to go do something and see the soccer games because people do it all the time with package deal things.
Right. And I get it. Like it's a big money making thing. It's the World Cup. And it's one of those situations where like people who might have chosen to just simply vacation to South Africa during that summer now had the option to like go do this thing. And from a very diehard serious fan stance, obviously that hurt a lot, right? Like I have to take a step back and put my pride aside and go, soccer's for everybody, right? That's the argument I made at the beginning. I want everybody to see these games. So, like, it's fine that they want to do this. It just hurt really bad that the tickets I wanted to purchase were behind a paywall, right? And I'm saying this as like a video gamer, right? Like you and I, we talk about this all the time. Like paywalls feel bad because I'm already spending money on your content. I don't want to have to spend more money to get access to the thing I'm already paying for. And I guess that's like the too long didn't read version of this video. I'm paying for the ticket. I don't want to pay you to be a VIP insider to have a better chance at getting the thing I'm already trying to pay for. Like, just like Fry, like, just shut up and take my money.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of for that South Africa one is they know people, obviously, if you're coming from the United States, you're flying or you're taking a boat, right? There's no other way to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so they know
like
you're
a cruise package or a backpacking package. Yeah.
So this is the only thing I can think of that would make logical sense. I'm not condoning what they did, but I'm just going to say it. It partly makes sense to throw it all as a bundle, right? If you're going to go and you're going to go to watch 3 USA games, they're not on the same day, which means you need a place to stay. You need a way to get there. You need the tickets. Why not throw it all in one big bundle so people can see exactly how much they're going to spend before they buy the tickets, then have to buy plane tickets and hotel and realize, oh shit, this is too much money.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think I want to say that the bundle that Chris and I looked at, the cheapest one was like $2,800. Most of them on average were for like $4,800. And what was rough about that was the games were not in a very wide time span. And so Chris and I, our goal was we were going to fly in the day before. We were going to camp because camping was like $20 a night. It was going to be in the winter time. So it was going to be rough, right? Because it was summertime, but South Africa, other hemisphere. And we were going to do it that way. And there was like no option. So when you purchased the package, you couldn't like pick and choose. You couldn't be like, I want to purchase your package, but I want to like not have that part. I don't want that hotel room. I want the plane tickets and I want the game tickets. And I want to add the bus fare because I want to take the bus back and forth from the campground. I don't want the hotel. It was like it was all or none.
Yeah,
and
that is unfortunate. That is, but I could see having some bundles like that, and then letting people buy up the other tickets. Like let companies just get like, oh, Expedia, you get 8,000 bundle tickets. Travelocity.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it like you did the
many.
draft, right? Like you the first like 2/5 of tickets all go to them. Then you open it up to regular ticket buyers, and then at the end of it, any of the tickets that are left can be rebought back by the travel agencies.
Correct.
You know, and I know it's a lot, and I know that like yeah.
But long story short, let everyone get to games. Try not to hoard tickets, stuff like that. That's basically all we're trying to say is we wish there was a better way to hand out tickets, honestly, is what this podcast was.
Right. And I know we sort of like tiptoed around and we went on these tangents, but yeah, for like the general theme to this was I just had a really unfortunate ride trying to purchase these tickets. At the end of it, am I happy? Yes. $85 to sit in the lower deck of a stadium behind a goal is fine. I will take $85 tickets all day. I mean, I almost purchased both of these tickets. I didn't even ask you if you could come because I was so convinced I could find somebody else that would give me $85, which again is why we have the resale. But to me, I can bite the bullet and put ticket prices aside, right? I think it's silly. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think venues should be charging $500-$600. I would have loved to go to a Red Wings game at Joe Louis Arena. If you looked up those prices, that was obviously not possible. But anyway, I digress again. It was just, why have this process of ticket lotteries? Why have this process of bundling packages? Like, U.S. soccer's not that good. If we had a shot to win the World Cup, man, I would just be like, you know what? I wish they didn't do it this way, but I get it because people are buying tickets and it's great. We're looking at stadiums that can't even sell half their tickets. We're looking at people who are like, they don't even know what soccer is, right? They couldn't name anybody on the roster, and it's harder for me to get tickets there than it is for me to go get like a Cincinnati Reds or to go to a Bengals game or to go to a Browns game. Like I just don't think it should be that difficult. But yeah. Anyway, so that's going to do it for this podcast. Next week, hopefully, the United States will have released a little bit more information. We'll try to keep next week's a little bit shorter, just a match preview. Maybe talk about some random stuff. Just talk about our plans. Get excited for it. Then the week after that, it's going to be in person. Ryan's going to be out here with me. We are going to be doing a game for the matches. And I know obviously with the games coming, don't expect them to be at the usual times. Once we get back into game mode, they're going to start coming out sort of in spurts. So you'll get a weird one next week, and then the week after that, it's going to be sporadic as we fall into that schedule, even coming through early February. So, Ryan, as always, it was great. I enjoyed having this
Yeah.
conversation with you. Any closing thoughts? You think we did it? Wrapped it up?
Yeah, I think we're good. I'm excited to come out and see you. So
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's going to be great. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Again, this is the second season. We made it through season 1. It's now 2022. This is season 2 of the Extra Time U.S. Soccer Podcast. We appreciate you guys checking it out. Make sure to comment. Any of your experiences, good or bad, that you have with ticket sales, leave a comment below. Share this, like this, do whatever you got to do. Check us out on CastBox. If you're not, if you are, check us over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.